are a community of thinkers and builders, doers and dreamers, and leaders.
We really reflect an incredible breadth of disciplines, and one of the things I think we do well is the cross-integration of the perspectives of those different disciplines.
We are in the imagination business here. We teach you to embrace opportunity, to use the skills that you have, and to also be extremely imaginative.
It's always busy, I'll say that, but it's a good busy. The teachers are always challenging you, and it's always something new every day.
High ideals, high aspirations put into action, made real in the practical world, is a really important, I think, hallmark of an Auburn graduate.
Some of the best project experiences I had came from my interior architecture studios. It wasn't just about the final exterior product, it was about designing from the inside out and looking at everything from a micro scale to a macro scale. And I love that that impacts how I do design now today in my profession.
Dealing with real clients and real projects present to our students are really essential to their preparation, to be the architects and landscape architects and planners that they'll become in their professional careers.
You have the opportunity to leave Auburn and to go study in an urban environment. I went to Rome, living in ancient buildings, studios are in palaces. It's a chance to learn about how people use a city and how its city impacts the people.
I chose Auburn architecture primarily because of its reputation, and secondly, I looked into its rural studio program, and I was really enthused about how they promote ideas of impact.
They're the ones that really work with the community and do projects that really have an unbelievable impact on the surrounding areas.
You live and you work in a studio environment, and you develop strong relationships with your other classmates and with your professors. I have some lifelong friends that I've made here, and it's really exciting and engaging and fun to be a part of.
The atmosphere of the studio is infectious.
What you're doing here, everything applies. You're really taught how to look at a problem, approach it in a creative manner, and then produce a solution that not many people will come up with. So it's the thought process that really helps you stand up and really make an impact.
It's almost a requirement that they be able not only to do beautiful design work, but also be able to present it and craft it well. They're being prepared each semester for what the field of graphic design has to offer. Image making or illustration, it could be web, interactive, type in motion, poster, large format, letterhead, business card, envelope, logo design.
It always begins with your research and figuring out your target audience, what you're designing for.
Graphic design is beginning to take on that model of consulting. We worked with the National Portrait Gallery. We did a lot of work for the Secretary of State, state of Alabama. Graphic design students do a lot of work for the USDA, pamphlets and the like that go all over the world.
We'll bring in design firms to see their senior project. It's something that the faculty are very proud of and enjoy seeing those students grow and mature.
Auburn was actually the only school in the Southeast that had a program like this. It really caused me to think about the world in different ways than I would have anticipated.
Environmental design is a new concept in design education because it deals with integration of systems thinking and design thinking.
If you're going to place a building in a certain area, how is that going to affect the environmental systems, the people systems, and economic systems? Everything really comes together into one cohesive unit.
All of the projects are based in reality of 21st century life, whether it's global or local. So our students don't deal with hypothetical projects. Our study abroad takes students to Copenhagen, Denmark, where they study the cutting-edge planning, landscape architecture, general design practices that provide answers to global and local needs. It's about creating a really flexible, nimble mind of 21st century.
Almost all of our programs have real strong ties to industry, which makes for rich teaching environments as well as relationships with folks for whom our graduates may soon go to work.
Everything is very hands-on. You're on site with the subs and the superintendents. You get to talk to them because that's what you're going to do when you graduate. You're going to be in their position. So it's great that you get to have that experience.
Through the Industry Advisory Council and all of our teachers working together, they strive to make this the most practical application of a program that we have.
Each of our classes, we're getting 40, 50 years of experience from these professors, their do's and don'ts for once we get in the industry.
The McWhirter School of Building Science is probably the nation's leader in providing study abroad opportunities for construction students. We've been to Asia, to Australia, to Europe, to Latin America. And they're having to adapt very quickly to different cultures. It's a different student that comes back.
I had 4 job offers through a co-op opportunity with Auburn, and I accepted one of those and have had an interview for a full-time placement since then.
Our graduates go out to be project managers, estimators, superintendents in many of the top 100 companies in the United States.
There are a lot of major contractors other entities that employ our graduates that look to Auburn to produce the future leaders of that industry.
We are a professional program housed within a university environment. So that's really the kind of the best of both worlds. And then compound that with what we're trying to do is we've got the university environment that we're tapping into, but then we also have industry that we're tapping into. You kind of bring those two together, you know, you have the opportunity for a perfect creative storm, you know.
We take a practical stance, I think, to the industrial design approach. You know, we do all the sketching and the 3D rendering and 3D modeling, but we also teach our students how to build products and think about how they're manufactured. And I think all of that plays into making a successful industrial designer. When students participate in those sponsored studios, they get to have contact with the same types of people that they would have contact with in their first job. And I think it gives the students firsthand experience in the real working world before they graduate, which not every student gets that.
I think the added value of having these industry professionals coming in is they're currently in the industry, and it's an industry that just keeps evolving and new technologies keep coming out. It's nice to have them coming in and sharing these technologies and these processes with us that can further our design.
Really, it gives you like real hands-on experiences of what it's going to be like once you graduate. With study abroad, I went to Taiwan, and you got to collaborate with a multinational team. You had like Taiwanese students, Korean students, Vietnamese students, Chinese students. That language barrier made it a little more challenging, but design was kind of our language. Just being in a different environment and seeing how other people design was really interesting and very valuable to me.
Well, I'd say we're pretty lucky here with the professors we have, and most of them have been in the industry for some time.
That's what drives whatever success we have here is attributed to the faculty. They just are talented, dedicated, passionate, interested in the learning process.
Yeah, so often what we hear back from the professionals we're working with is that the students here at Auburn are just a lot more prepared to go into the professional world.
To have client contact prior to graduation, to have an opportunity to network with people who could potentially put you in line for an internship or a job. I mean, that's the nugget, that's the key here.